everyone, and welcome to another episode of Whether or Not. I'm your host here, Matthew Howard, joined by our forecaster, Caitlyn Bell. And Caitlyn, will those warm temperatures stick around for the weekend?
Yeah, Matthew, thank you. So this week we've actually seen temperatures above average, but as we head into the weekend, they start to dip back down, and even mid next week, we actually might see them go back up again, so just in time for Halloween, but I don't want to give too much away, so more on that later.
And will be a great weekend to wear shorts, or will it be more of a weekend for a hoodie?
I definitely think it's a hoodie weekend, and I know a lot of people love that. A lot of people love to wear shorts, but it's definitely time to bring out those hoodies.
And that will be good to know going into the weekend. And coming up next here is your Nature in the News.
Researchers at the University of Colorado Boulder have encountered a connection between Earth weather and space weather. Using satellite data, the team showed that lightning can displace high-energy electrons from an area known as the inner radiation belt. Located more than 600 miles above the Earth's surface, the inner radiation belt is filled with charged particles that surround Earth and is generated by the Earth's magnetic field. The belts trap these charged particles, forming a barrier between Earth's atmosphere and the rest of the solar system. However, the team made a discovery: clumps of high-energy electrons moving through the inner belt. From 1996 to 2006, the team counted 45 surges that happened less than a second after lightning struck the ground. They believe that radio waves bump into electrons, where they bounce between Earth's northern and southern hemispheres. This research could pave the way to predict these events, ultimately keeping satellites and astronauts away from dangerous radiation.
While it may be quiet in our neck of the woods, other parts of the world are experiencing the opposite story. Extreme flooding has occurred across parts of France and Portugal, where over 2 feet of rain fell in 48 hours. These torrential downpours packed a punch and left behind a lot of damage. The rain led to submerged roads and allowed for over 2,000 operations from rescue teams and firefighters. This event also brought debris onto the streets and widespread power outages. Even though France saw a heavy rainfall event, Hurricane Kirk's remnants brought heavy rainfall as well to many portions of France. Not only was heavy rain an issue, but strong winds were found as the remnants hit France and Portugal. The strong winds impacted Portugal, damaging 65% of the apple crops. Cleanup may take some time to complete before these cities go back to their functioning capacity.
A species of tropical butterfly with a fascinating brain structure reveals an interesting neural development connected to cognitive breakthrough. Heliconius butterfly are the only genus known to feed on both nectar and pollen. They can also learn and remember spatial information about their food sources. These skills were previously connected to a brain structure called mushroom bodies, which are responsible for memory. A study focused on the changes in these neural circuits led to the discovery of Kenyan cells that expand at different rates. As a result, a pattern called mosaic brain evolution was found, where certain parts of the brain change while others remain the same. Researchers believe the patterns relate to shifts in behavioral performance. The butterflies have efficient routes of feeding, and the memory processes due to the mosaic patterns enhance the species' abilities. The team plans to increase the resolution of brain mapping to visualize neurons on a greater level, while also exploring circuits beyond the memory of the butterfly.
This hurricane season so far has been one for the record books, bringing many catastrophic landfalls and more tropical cyclones than the average year. Hurricane season is coming to an end in the next month, but we are still exiting one of the most active parts of hurricane season. One of the most recent hurricanes, Hurricane Oscar, developed in the middle of October. This hurricane made history as the smallest hurricane on record, with hurricane-force winds expanding less than 12 miles across the center. Even though the hurricane-force winds were so small, it was originally only forecasted for a 10% chance of development just the day before. What challenged forecasters was how fast this tropical cyclone developed, prompting little preparation time for the Caribbean islands and Cuba. This tropical cyclone rapidly intensified on the morning of October 19th, nearly doubling its wind speed in about 3 hours. Within those few hours, the tropical cyclone became a Category 1 hurricane, producing winds of about 80 miles per hour. As the tropical Atlantic waters remain above average, tropical cyclones can continue to form over the next month.
We have seen higher temperatures this week. However, when we move into this weekend, they will start to dip back down around average. So let's jump into our weekend forecast. Now for Friday, to start off, we do have this cold front associated with some rain that will move west into the region, and our low is off the map. However, as a result of this cold front, we will begin to see some clouds building in the northwest. However, we do have this high pressure system to our south that is already bringing some nicer and sunnier conditions to the east. But as we move into Saturday, not much has changed. However, we do see some high pressure to the west really starting to build into the region. And as a result of that cold front that had just moved through the day before, we do see some lingering clouds to the north and to the south of Pennsylvania. Sunday is going to be our nicest day of the weekend. By Sunday, our high pressure has dominated the region. We will see sunny conditions to the south as well as to the north. However, I will not rule out a stray cloud or two to the north on Sunday. Now, moving in to the weekend, Friday we will see a high of 63 with some few clouds. Again, 63, not a bad way to start off your weekend, but as we move into Friday night, we will see partly cloudy skies with a low of 35 degrees. Now, a low of 35 actually does have some frost potential, and as we move into Saturday, not much has changed temperature-wise with a high of 58 and a mix of sun and clouds. Again, those clouds being the result of the cold front that moved through Friday and Saturday. Once we get into Saturday night, we do have a low of 40, mostly cloudy skies, and as we move to our Sunday, a high of 53 and abundant sunshine. And Sunday would be the best day to start getting out and doing those fall activities that we all love. And 53, although it's going to be the lowest temperature of the weekend, we have seen the temperatures move from Friday to Sunday. They have gotten lower. However, it seems the conditions will be getting nicer by Sunday. Next up, we have a feature by Pham on snowmaking.
From water to ice, snowmaking has become a staple for many skiers and snowboarders across Pennsylvania. Without it, many ski areas across the Commonwealth would not have the ability to stay open for more than just a few weeks or even days. Pristine white peace would instead be filled with dirt patches and brown bare ground. And with a warming climate, windows to snowmake are becoming harder to find. But new strategies have started to rise, even here in the middle of Pennsylvania at Tussey Mountain, to combat the curveballs climate change has started to throw at snowmaking.
Snowmaking is a complex, multi-step process to turn water into fine snow crystals. First, a water source is required to shoot the millions of gallons of water into the air. Second, an air source is needed to help freeze the water. Sometimes water droplets don't freeze until they reach negative 40 degrees Fahrenheit because they need something to freeze onto. So special nozzles on the snowmakers will shoot both tiny water droplets and ice particles with pressurized air. By shooting highly pressurized air, a small pocket of air cools itself through atmospheric processes, allowing for the water droplet to start freezing on the ice particle. The air must meet a certain criteria to allow the rest of the droplet to freeze as it falls towards the ground.
Temperature has to be under 28 and low humidity. Obviously, as it gets colder and colder and drier, it's way more cost effective to make snow.
With our warming climate, colder and drier conditions are becoming less common, and it has started to affect the snowmaking operations of some mountains.
So when you have those sort of short 4-hour windows where to kick on everything it'd be an hour, and to kick off everything it'd be an hour, when it hits at 28, the cost per square yard of snow is sometimes so expensive that it doesn't make sense to make. But we try to really maximize our small windows because that's what we're seeing more and more lately.
Even with dwindling snowmaking windows, some ski areas have started to adapt their strategies to mitigate these effects of climate change. Some mountains combine precise timing with using different types of snow guns to make the snowmaking process more efficient.
Fan guns use more wind, more air. Nozzle guns are sort of more precise in where you want to put stuff and how well you can put stuff down. I think we're really choosy with when we make snow so that our snow quality is of the standard that we set. I think that there's other places that have the ability to just sort of flick on and off a switch and sort of blow whenever they hit any amount of temperature, humidity mix that they see fit.
Even with precise timing to turn on the snow guns, it has still been difficult to manage costs and upgrades to better fight against the effects of climate change and loss of revenue.
We're kind of hitting a capacity with where we're at. We need more electric, we need more water, we need more air. But we make do with what we have. It's just a long process to upgrade everything.
Snowmaking is slowly becoming more expensive, and it won't be getting any easier for resorts and ski areas to manage with the warming climate, but they are putting in maximum efforts to keep those tiny water droplets flying for skiers and snowboarders across Pennsylvania.
For Whether or Not, I'm Brendan Pham.
We will see those temperatures dip down this weekend. However, moving into our extended forecast next weekend, they will start to rise back up. However, let's do our weekend recap first. Now, Friday, again, our high of 63 and our low of 35. Again, some frost potential for Friday, but we do still have a few clouds on Friday. Our Saturday, not looking too much different temperature-wise. Not so much lower, but a high of 58 and a low of 40 with partly cloudy skies. Again, from that cold front Friday into Saturday that moved through the region. However, once that moves out into Sunday, we will start to see abundant sunshine with a high of 53 and a low of 32. And moving into our extended forecast for next week, Monday and Tuesday are looking to be around average with a little bit of cloud cover on Monday. However, it does start to build up into Tuesday and into Wednesday and Thursday. And take a look at the temperatures on Thursday. They start to skyrocket midweek into the mid-70s. But Friday, temperatures will go back down around average with a little more cloud cover compared to the rest of the week. And remember, our average for this time of year is sitting at about the mid-50s, and we haven't seen too much rain this past October, especially within the last week and this week. And Matthew, that actually reminds me of our weather whiz quiz question of the week.
Thank you, Caitlyn. Yeah, we've been quite dry around the State College area, and we would like to ask you all how much precipitation was recorded during State College's driest October. Is it A, 8/100ths of an inch, B, 23/100ths of an inch, C, 44/100ths of an inch, or is it D, 82/100ths of an inch? And if you chose A, 8/100ths of an inch, you would be correct. And Caitlyn, that's actually happened in 1963, so just over 60 years ago. Could not imagine how 8/100ths of an inch would even impact our October dry just about every day.
Yeah, Matthew, so this October has actually been pretty dry, especially compared to the date in our weather whiz quiz question. Now, this week, we definitely have not seen some rain. Next week, probably will not as well either. And just in time for Halloween, actually, so those conditions are looking quite nice.
Yes, and we're seeing temperatures possibly even into the low and mid-70s for Halloween. So instead of bringing out those jackets, I think we're all going to be wanting to bring out shorts.
Yeah, in the past couple of years, we've actually seen some children wearing their jackets over their costumes. So that is probably not the case this year.
Yeah, and thank you all so much. I hope you all stay tuned next week for another episode of Whether or Not.